Well, hello. I am super excited, and I just checked while those 30-second countdown was going on, and it did work. So the test for us to be able to go live, since StreamYard kind of changed up how we go live in groups, it kind of creates this whole event, and it's been a while since I've done that, so I wasn't sure. It was asking me to do all these weird things, and I was like, oh, I don't know, but I didn't have to do anything. Thank goodness. So I guess the event just kind of goes live when I press let's go, showtime. So today is all about websites. Of course, one of my favorite topics. It's something we are excited to be starting, I believe, in a couple weeks. So the first Thursday every month, we'll be going live inside of the MAXTECH and Tools group with really hot topics of the month. But at the end, we will have an Ask Me Anything, so you guys can be putting your comments, anything like that, so that I can try to help you however I can with all this fun KV Core stuff. As most of you know, I ran KV Core for many, many years for our lead team, so I'm very familiar with it, and I'm excited to be able to help you guys all. And I already saw, I was watching all the comments coming in, so thank you all for joining. I'm super excited, because I don't know if you're watching on StreamYard or YouTube or anything like that, but thank you everyone for joining live. Look at all this. Volume not working. Can anyone else? I see Michelle says she can't hear me, but I'm not getting anything wrong. Everything looks good on my end. So please, my microphone shows it's on. Okay, volume's fine. Michelle, turn your volume up. Help you. You didn't, you have to get permission so I can see who you are. All good. Perfect. Oh, look at that. Awesome. Perfect. And if I see Facebook user, you're anonymous. I have no idea who you are. On the event inside of Facebook, there's like a little link that says give StreamYard permission so I know who you are, and then your name and your bubble will pop in. So perfect. So I see so it'll give me permission to be able to see who you are, all that fun stuff. So good stuff. Awesome. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Normally, when I do StreamYard and I'm live, I try not to do it all by myself. It is nice to have two different eyes on the comments that are coming in, because they jump in so fast. But today was kind of like our test. It's something that I do every month anyway. So I thought, well, let's just go live and see how it is. So I will be looking for guest speakers to try to help me out with any of these classes that we're doing. Bree and I are doing marketing classes, which will be in the creative group, as well as tech and tools. That'll be the third Thursday every month at noon. Super excited for that. But also on the first, I'm doing KV Core. So any of you other KV Core enthusiasts that love different aspects, in the Facebook group and Tech and Tools, I kind of have my schedule. So if it's something that you're familiar with that you would love to share, please private message me. I would love to have you on with me. I don't like anything to be the Heather show. I'm just here to help you. So I do the best that I can to be able to help you out. Oh, hello there. And I think I'm competing. Oh, I feel bad. It's like the same time with Esther's little live thing too. So thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. This, of course, all of these, because we're doing them live, we are going to put them. We just started a new guide that's all about KV Core. So I'm going to be posting little quick Thursday videos, but the first Thursday will be the live one, and it'll be Ask Me Anything. It doesn't have to be on the topic. But I'll try to answer the chats on the topic as we go through each hot topic. And we have a lot of great stuff, because stuff is coming down the line, and I love being able to play. But let's go ahead and jump right in. Any questions on the websites, feel free to ask. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can dive in. Hopefully everybody by now knows how to get into their website, or at least into KV Core by going into their Mac Center. I'm going to kind of go over some of my top questions that I get, but we're going to go into your settings. So anything that really has to do with your website, come right over to the Web and IDX. And I almost work my way. I start all the way at the bottom because we want to go into settings. I'm a visual, so I'll be going back and forth for a website so that you can see what everything does inside of here. Not all elements inside of our settings actually apply to the template we have. Hopefully, after we get all the design center and all of that is live, we will be getting new templates instead of just the one that we currently have. And then that's where some of those settings will apply. So I'm just going to go over, quite honestly, the most important ones that are really going to make the most effect and most difference within your website. So going down, I did notice there is one office that actually has all of the templates. I don't think they're supposed to be there. Everybody else, we have our Remix template. Unless you've purchased another, you have it independently, totally separate. But everybody else that came in, we have the Remix template. Not much we can do with that, but hopefully we will get more templates soon. Then, of course, you have your background image. KV Core has a ton of graphics that we can choose from that apply to your area. So there's a ton already in here. And don't worry, sometimes these photos look a little skewed. They're not exactly how they're going to display on your website. But if you ever want to just see what one looks like, you can always click on it, uncheck anything else, save, go to your website. It is live. So it is nice that you can just refresh your site. You're going to see changes immediately. Once you can pick a few, it's not an automatic slideshow. So I can pick 6 images. It means when someone goes to my website, it will be one of those 6 images. So if you want to upload, it's super easy to do. You come down, you can choose multiple ones, or you come right into this block and you can drag and drop. It's telling you the size. So most of the time, I pretty much have a template inside of Canva that is the 1600 by 650. So that way I can manually already have it cropped exactly how I want when I save it. If you have another photo that you may get, I can just drag and drop it over to this block. If I'm not sure how it's going to display on the website, I can click the pencil edit icon, and it's going to allow you to position the photo so that you're going to see what part of, obviously I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want all of that, but maybe kind of in that middle to be able to show some of that palm tree and stuff. So it allows you to select the area of a larger photo if you're going to purchase them from Shutterstock, or you're downloading them from Pexels or Pixabay, one of those free sites, or even in Canva. They have a ton if you have Pro. I know Bree and I are doing some Canva classes coming up, so stay tuned for those. But then you just click confirm, and that way you're going to see the part that you want, and then you're going to click upload. Of course, you can always uncheck, check, save, however you want. I actually have a video, so it's not going to do anything. Video always trumps photos. So if by any chance you're an agent, your office has a video, because the videos will get imported or inherited to your agent site. So if there's a video on there that your office put in and you're trying to add photos and it's not working, I'm going to show you where to delete the video. Video will always trump any photos that you upload. So you may be like, I'm uploading, nothing's happening. I'm going to show you where. This right here is your secondary logo. It will appear next to the brokerage logo, which we can't edit. That is pulling from the office's profile inside of Mac Center. But you can upload your own secondary logo, just like it shows in the box before you upload. It's going to have like 512 by 512. Square works best. I do see where some will have theirs more long. And let's go over to Bree's site really quick. And she has a longer one, but you can see we're pretty limited to the tabs that we can add. So when you have a longer one, it may look okay on my desktop. It's pretty tight right there. But these sites are mobile responsive, meaning as people are on different devices, laptops, see how the text ends up going on top of the logo. So If you have a square, that is going to 100% look the best. It's what it requires. It's really going to, it's like there's like a certain space that we have, and it really will depend on, getting clever with labeling all of your headers, adding new tabs and all of that stuff. So we will get into that. Slow down. I know I'm a fast talker, but we have a lot to cover. If you're trying to go along with me, your best bet will be to watch the replay, because then you can pause, do, play. Play, pause, do. That's pretty much what I do on YouTube, just because there's so much to cover, and I'm a fast talker and I get excited. I can't help myself. I get that straight from my mom. She used to do classes and it said slow down. So everybody knew to kind of do that, and she would slow down. I can't see you, so you can't do that for me, but I'll try to slow down. But I do have a lot to cover. For me, I like watching replays where I can kind of play, stop, and then do on at the same time as I'm going through these. But we're just kind of going through these settings before we get into the really fun stuff of playing with your website. This is the resource tab. It will be on your website. It's somewhere. I don't even have it hidden. So it's usually up here. It'll say resources, or maybe I changed it. I guess we'll see that. Pretty sure it could. And if you don't add pages, it'll just pretty much take you to all of the different pages. It may be something that you got inherited from your office or your team. So if you want to save room, you can always hide the resource page. Just different things that you have. I wouldn't hide the office information. That is what is displaying all the way at the footer. So we want to stay in compliant. So make sure to don't hide your office information. I'm not 100% sure what these listing labels are, but I believe they're the banners. Like if you're having an open house, you'll see open house just listed or anything like that. So I like to keep those. So because it allows people to see like the just listed, the new, it's almost like a quick call to action. So I like to make sure that those are on. This is when we get into your forced lead registration. This is saying if you're going to mandate a phone number upon registration. KV Core is pretty clever, because any part that requests like a login, it wants you to put in their email, and then it asks for a password, and the prompt is to use your cell phone number for the password. So that's almost like a fun little clever hack that they're doing for our behalf. But you can mandate phone numbers. There is a disclaimer that the amount of registrations you will get by forcing someone to put in a phone number is going to be heavily reduced, and you will get a lot of 555-1212 numbers. So that is something, it's again, completely up to you. It is your website. You have full control. I would recommend having Google Analytics installed, and that's free. And I have blogs that, and I think I put a video or whatnot in the group. But having Google Analytics really allows you to play with your registration prompts. This one is, I have it. She doesn't really work a lot of online leads. She works mostly referrals, past clients. So we have it set up where after 2 properties, it's going to prompt a registration, but they'll be able to X out and they are not forced to register. You have different, by default, it is going to be normal. They can look at 1 property, and once they go to look at a second property, it's going to force them to register and create an account, creating leads for you, building your pipeline. It all is dependent on you. You can say require registration after a certain amount of properties they looked at. You can say never prompt registration. I don't really care. It's open to all. Anybody can do it. I don't want to work online leads. I just want people to be able to search for properties if that's what they want to do. You can play. I know as for running offices and lead gen and all of that stuff, I personally usually do a forced registration after 2 or 3 property views. And that's almost, to me, it's like fishing for leads. I allow them to fish. They start using my website, doing searches, looking at properties, begin to fall in love with the website, and then I want to hook them. So that's kind of how I look. I do notice if I have it as they do that after that first, my bounce rate spikes very high. So if you're looking at people constantly on your website, I hate my bounce rate being really high. It's something that I'm always looking at. I found that 2 gives me more leads for my agents, which is what I'm trying to do. 3, I like because I feel they're more real leads, I guess you could say, versus just looky-loos or whatnot. So play with it. Let it run for a couple of months. If you have Google Analytics, you can really dive in and see the difference of lead count, lead quality, who's responding to you, and the best efforts for your website. And really is going to be the type of people going to your website. But Google Analytics, which is free, is going to allow you to really determine what is the best fit for your website, for your clientele, for the people going to your website. So I have it prompt after 2. Just remember, anytime you see that save button, to go ahead and save the button. And let's see. Normal. Let's see. Is normal the same as normal? So normal is the default. That is what you have by default for your website. So if you have not gone in and changed this, you have prompt registration after 1 property view. So that's their normal. It's maybe should have been called default, but that is what is set up automatically inside of our settings. So if you don't want that, you can change that however you want. This is the website title. So website title, this is information that's going to pull over to your website. This will be a little different for an individual agent versus a team or a brokerage. Individual agents, we have a secondary spot. This website title on a brokerage or a team, when I put something there, that is also what pulls up underneath your name in your header right here. So by changing that on the team, so you wouldn't want that, like on a team, it's going to have team name or brokerage name. So I wouldn't want to add the same thing because then that would be duplicate. But the website title is also what shows up in this tab. And it's also going to be the bold title. When somebody does a Google search and finds you, they're going to see your title as well as your description. You can make that description a little longer, but that's what's going to pull up in a Google search as well. If you're posting your website to Facebook, you see the title that's in bold, and then you're going to see a little sentence. That is the description. So that's what's pulling over there. On a brokerage or team site, this will be up here, but it's also going to be here. On an individual agent, we have a secondary sweet spot down lower that I'll show you where you can add in, where like I did, I added her information, her cell and Gmail, add your tagline, add whatever you want. It's just basically a tagline area. Let's see here. All right, perfect. Okay, so going down, ask unit, that's going to be on that seller's page. If you are in an area that has condos, townhouses, anything that has unit number, you are going to want to make sure that that's on. I'm pretty sure that is the default. Instead of somebody just giving an address, there is going to be a spot for them to be able to add a unit number. Obviously, Chrissy's in, on the Space Coast, very heavily on the beach, lots of condos. We want to make sure that that unit number is on there. So I just keep that as default, but that's what that does. Recruiting text, I've been adding different things in here. I haven't been able to change it. Probably a different, I know when we had KV Core independently where it went, not quite sure where that goes. If you have HTML codes, widgets, maybe you use Follow Up Boss, or we have different kind of hacks or anything like that that we can add HTML. It is going to be add this HTML into the header of your website. That is where you would basically put this in here. This is a hack I use, and you can kind of read between the lines. This is going to be on our landing pages. I actually, instead of the default orange, I have it so it is her color on her landing pages. So it's just like a little HTML hack code. I can change, I'm able to change what color I want her landing page button to be instead of the default. Let's see, let's come over here. Oh, e-guides, I'll just show you. So this is like a landing page that we can create. And this is that HTML, which allows me to make it the default is going to be orange. I live in Tennessee. Orange is growing on me, but I want it to be matching her branding, anything like that. So if you have any sort of different hacks, definitely you can put them right in here and just save it. Some HTML, this one, okay, so I just put like, that I manage it or whatever. So if you do, I believe like Follow Up Boss, when you go in there I just did a search for Google to help an agent and just did a search for Follow Up Boss plus KV Core. It showed me exactly the instructions, where to go in Follow Up Boss to get the HTML to plug into I believe it was the header or the body of the website so that things can communicate. So you may get different HTML hacks. It's going to say put in the header, the body, the footer, whatnot. This is where you would add that HTML. Doesn't have to make sense for you. You don't have to write code, but you can probably copy and paste. So that's all of these sections are going to be for that. Conversion code, you may want to put in something more advanced from analytics or anything like that. You don't have to. Same with custom chat widgets. If you're not going to be using the Facebook one, you use something else. You could just, it'll say like put in the chat widget, put it right here. That way it knows where to go. This is going to be for your Facebook ID. It'll populate right down here. It's going to go right into Facebook Messenger. So if you want it to be your personal, have it go to your personal. If you want it to go to your business page, go to your business page. Just know Messenger is a little different when you're using it for a page versus individual. Me, I wanted it for my personal because getting into my pages is a nightmare because I manage too many. But that's just something that you can do. But you don't want the whole URL. It will not work. And if you try to test it out yourself, it won't work because Facebook doesn't know how to message yourself. So you may get like log in or log out, but just know that is because it doesn't know how to message ourselves. So it doesn't always work when we try to test it on our own site when it's connected to what we're actually logged in as. So it's not you. It's just Facebook doesn't know how to message yourself. So, but that's where you put in everything after the facebook.com. You're going to put in that code right there and then make sure to save. Additional offices. If your office has more than one, you can add in 2 and it'll show up on the bottom, on the footer area where that office is. It will show up with more than, a secondary office location. These are just in there. I think this has to do with California laws or whatnot. So just leave those there. We don't want to ever hide, but we do want to connect our Zillow. I'm going to show you that. If you're a team or a company, you can inherit the child testimonials. So that is, if you're a team or a brokerage, you're the parent and your agents are your children. So you can inherit your agent's testimonials to appear on your site. That's going to apply more on a brokerage or team site. This is your background video YouTube. So if you're trying to do your own photos, but you can't get rid of the video, you're going to delete it and then save. If you do have a video or there's a video out there that you absolutely love, you're just going to go to the video and everything after the equal sign is what you're going to place in that box and then save. If you do the entire URL, you're more than likely going to see a black box on the header because it's like it's trying to go to YouTube or trying to find a video, but it doesn't know what to do because we didn't follow instructions. So make sure just to go ahead, and that's what everything after the equal sign and then save. If you added your Facebook ID for the chat and it doesn't show up, it is because by default, hide chat widget is on. So you'll want to go and unhide that chat widget so that it actually appears. This full width is really what I have found is not if you, and that's by default, we want to keep it that way. I have found if you don't use full width, there's going to be a lot of white spaces on the sides. Like when it comes to even your header, these boxes, everything is shrunken in and it has like all this white space on the side. I like everything full width. It's going to mirror match whatever device somebody is on or watching. So just leave that as the default. And most of these are for other templates. They don't apply to ours. Other templates, I know what those used to do, but we don't have that template. So not right now. Those don't even do anything. Now coming to your navigation, these are the labels for this navigation. You can edit what they say. So if you're trying to put in more or anything like, I believe by default this says search, but honestly, it's just going to be your listings. If you don't have any listings, it'll be your brokerage listings. So you can see she has one listing. Everything keeps selling faster than she can hold on to it. So I changed it from search because that seems incorrect. I changed it to listings. This by default says sell, but it takes you to the home value page. So I typed home value. I have plenty of room up here. I can do that. If I'm limited to space, I will make it sell. So I should change hers to sell. It'll move that listings over just a tad. So sometimes I have to play with those depending on how many navigation bars I want to add up there. Let's see here. I don't have any lenders in there, so the finance label's not on there. Resources, again, I'm not using that, so it doesn't really matter. Agents, so that's going to be more on, let's see, like your agent. On a broker, it says your agents. Again, these don't apply. That doesn't apply, doesn't really do anything. This is if you go in and start adding pages, this is how you add them to the top. The first is going to be single pages. So that's a custom page for your navigation. The second is going to be categories. That means you have more pages. So that's going to create that drop down. So here, buyer and seller, I have a lot of pages underneath that category. So I'm going to use it as a drop down. A blog is a single page. I just wanted it to be a single page. It's also on my drop down here. It's also on here, but because we do actual blogs, I want that visible as many places as I can. So here we made a bunch of pages and we put it under the category, and we'll get to that of buyer and seller. So now I want that to be a drop down. We did landing pages. I put them under the category e-guide, and then featured areas. We did a bunch and we put them under the category of featured areas. Let's see. I like that question because we could, and I'm not sure if only the broker or team leader can add more than one, but definitely go in and try. I was in here and I couldn't even figure out how to add one, but I know it was there. So not 100% sure, but when you come down here to lenders, see if there's an add a lender. I have to play with that. I was just on there because I was going to see if I could do one, and I did not see the add lender. But definitely team leaders and brokerages will have different access to that. So a little interesting, and they seem to change things as we go. So lots of good stuff. But this right here, the custom pages, this would be for a single page. That is going to be first. And then the categories. So if I wanted the featured areas to be not at the end, but over here, I basically can just go and X these out and add them in the order that I want. So I could just, whatever, let's see, featured areas and then e-guides. So you put them in the order that you want them displayed in up here, but you see how easy it is for me just to rearrange them. And then I save. So here I do have hide the resource tab. I'm not 100% sure. Good thing everything's live, so I can refresh. And probably because it almost duplicates what I have, and it takes up these are in. So it's like listings or whatever, the search, sell, your agent, and resources. I can't really change, only the text. I can't change the order. And you can see here, there's no value to that in for me. It just goes to our resources. It basically takes me to all of the content I have on my website. But it's as soon as somebody clicks on any of the pages I have, it's automatically going to have more resources. So that's how they can get to that page. So I hide that because it takes up too much room. If your office has added lenders and you see that finance tab, you can hide that. These are carousels, which is going to be on that homepage. You get 3 rows and you can choose what you want to display. Eventually it'll get there. It can be your listings, just listed. If you have a lot of sold, it's your sold listings. You could do it by areas. As long as you have areas and the areas we serve, which we'll get to that, you can choose from any of the areas you have in that department. So maybe you don't have a lot of listings, like our one listing, and it's a lot. Maybe you can change this at any time. So I can say, well, maybe instead of listings, I want specific areas. So I'll show you what hers show now are her listings just listed. That's pulling from the entire MLS. I don't have a way to, to say what criteria really on this part, and then my sold listings. So my sold listings are kind of cool, and it's not pulling any buyer representation. It's pulling in your listings that sold. So it'll put them on a map, and it's pretty cool. Not 100% sure how far back. I think it's a couple years, but maybe I just want areas. So, well, I do want her listings there, but I'm going to come over here to area, and I'm going to go ahead and put in Atlantic, and I'm going to save it. And let's see, Indian Harbor Beach. Let's see what happens. So let me save that. Then I can go back to our home page. Yes, if you do not have listings, it will default from my listings to our listings for your specific office. So this office here has multiple offices. It's going to pull in her Indian office listings, all the agents in her office, specific office. That's what it's going to show. It's not showing the full company listings. It's only showing listings for all the agents in her specific office. So, but yes, it'll go from my listings to our listings. The same thing up here, this top where it has listings, or it may say search by default. It'll go from your one listing to all the office listings. That's an excellent question. I wish that was a choice. Instead of just listed, I would love an option so we can all kind of like put in our little requests. I would love it if there was an option to have my listings and our listings or company listings. That would be pretty cool. But you can see here, so it has like my listings in the Atlantic, listings in Indian Harbor Beach, or I can turn them off. If I don't want those, I only want my listings or my company listings, I can turn that option off. That's up to you. Let's see. Let's go back over here. So we have that. This is the Google Analytics. I did a blog. I posted it in the groups. It's on my website. Go there. Literally will take you. I did it from a search to completion and adding it in under 2 minutes. So go in, grab that Google Analytics. It does not cost anything. It gives a ton of data. Even if you never really look at that data, it's nice to know it's there. I personally do reports every single month. I want to know where people are coming from, how long they're on my site, what pages are working the most to generate leads. I like to know all of that. But even if you're not geek like me to look at that kind of stuff, at least to know you have it on there. It's good to go. Let's see. This is our hidden spot for individual agents for our tagline. And I'm just going to copy this because it'll let me, I can activate, let's see, there's a spot where and you don't want to ever do that. Don't hide your agent section from your listings. That's like your information on your listings. There is a spot here. Let me get rid of this because before I added anything in there, it could say use agent info for your tagline. And if I click that, I'm going to show you what that looks like. It pulls in usually even your license number and whatever is pulling from MAXTECH. I didn't really like that because I don't like the license number on there. So what I did is, but I like, that information. So I'm just going to come over here. I don't want to use that, but I'm just going to, I do like, all text and make sure to save it. So I do like that part. So, but you can add your tagline, add your designations, add whatever you want. And since I'm kind of on that topic, if this says associate and you wanted to have your designations or realtor or something like that, that is pulling from your title inside of your MAXTECH profile. Boom. Here's your MAXTECH profile. When you come over to your general information, which is your name, same thing if you have your name is not how you want it to display, change your name, your title. Most of us never, ever, ever do anything with the title. So by default, in most states, it's associate is going to be the default. I think New York State was like some crazy long, generic title. But if you just say realtor and that way, that's what'll display there. It's definitely one of my top questions that I get. So that is where we change that over there. Let's see. All right, so make sure to save. Now, these are the listings that are going to be displaying on your website. So if you don't want contingent, you don't want rentals, you don't want pending. And I did notice, depending on your MLS will depend on the options that you have in this area. But this shows what we want. We don't want rentals showing up on our website. She doesn't want to work rentals. Most agents don't. So we don't want rentals to show up there. If you have a lot of listings, so I'm curious if I save this contingent and pending, you have to know that is going to apply to your blocks as well for your listings. So I'm not sure. I think she just sold everything. But on your listings, if you have a bunch of contingent and pending listings that would end up filling this row, you may want to go ahead and click to show those so that this block doesn't just show one listing. Hers done, I think she just sold them. But that is just something, and you have the ability to edit this at any time. So change it up, whatever you want, anything like that. If you're in a large area yeah, absolutely. You can make it be rock star broker owner. You can make it say whatever you want. I think I had my title as like marketing and tech coach. You can put whatever you want, rock star agent, whatever tagline, whatever you want in that title, you can absolutely do. So on this area here, coverage area, I know like in Florida, we have Stellar MLS, which basically covers from East to West Coast and everything in between. If an agent's working on in Daytona, they probably don't want to show all the Tampa listings because they're not going to be driving 3 hours to go do something. So if that is the case and you don't want all these crazy listings, you want to toggle this over to be able to say only my area, if that makes sense. So a lot of MLSs, it won't even apply, but some MLSs cover a huge area. So you may want to only cover your area, and then you can go through which counties do you want it to apply. This is new. It has not been there. and it's not even doing anything. So, oh, there it is. So this is new. This was not there. So I learned something new today too. So you can toggle which areas do we want to show on the website. I'm putting her county, which is brand new. I haven't seen that yet. And same thing, hide manual listings. I guess if manual listings show up on your website and you don't want them, you can hide them. Haven't really done that. I keep these all just the same. This is the sort default. How do you want those listings to appear when somebody does a search? I personally do like highest price to lowest price. You're going to have, it's better visuals. I have noticed when I've tried to do most popular, because you have different options. The most popular are going to be those $30,000 trailers that you never knew existed. Those are the most popular. So I don't like those. I'm more for visual. You could have days on the website by price reduction. So you can change that and definitely play with it. If it's something you're not sure of, play with it and you can decide that. Now we get to, I like to show the map, and that is any of the searches. It'll have the map. Like you had just seen when we showed that, it's going to have the map and then the listings, but you can play with, if you just want it grid or the list, play with that. I have added options into here. I have no idea what it does, where it goes. So I'm thinking it may not apply to us because I've never been able to see them. So that is in our settings, which is a lot of information. And now we're coming over to content, because that is the big thing that we need to do. Testimonials. Biggest question, I think probably number 2 or 3 is I have synced my Zillow and it is nowhere to be found. Correct. You have to manually add at minimum 1 review, basically copy paste, to be able to create the testimonial page on your website. So you have to manually add a review. Your manual reviews are also the ones that are going to be on that homepage, just constantly ticking through, not your Zillow reviews, manually added ones. So you add 1 review, then it'll sync to your Zillow. Your Zillow is syncing to this side column, not to the middle. However, it's pretty cool because if you don't want to be sending people to Zillow, you can have them go straight to your website, and now they can go ahead and put them right inside of there for you. So and then it should add them right there. So that's a good thing, but you have to manually add at least 1 review. Of course, then it's going to look silly. You're going to have 1 review and a bunch of blank space with all those Zillows. So copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, super easy to do. Service areas, SEO, add all of the cities that you service, all of them. There is a button when you come over here, you can add all. That's going to add every single city, area, everything that's like been added to your MLS. I personally don't do that because that area on your homepage, it may pull in typos. It just gets crazy, and some MLSs will pull out of area listings or all of that. I want it to be specific to me. That is going to pull areas we cover. These are great pages, but I want just really the cities that I serve to show up there. This is also where you're going to add in your SEO for search engines, all your keywords, all of that. And you can create content above the links. When someone clicks on one of those, here's an example. You can add content above the default. So the default, when somebody clicks on this, is going to have these listings, and it has a lot of data and information. Big tip, when you're adding something in, one thing I absolutely love, a lot of times you are going to see area or city as an option. If you choose area, yes, it will be a broader area location-wise, but only the city option is going to give you every neighborhood in that city. That is ideal for search engine optimization because now that is indexed on your website. Big deal, big difference. We want all of that in there. It's like magic. It happens for you. It's pretty awesome. And you can add content, videos, whatever you want straight on there. but this is where we want to do. So when you go to add, let me see if I can just type in a city she doesn't have. See how there's area or city. And I just figured this out this week because we couldn't figure out why the neighborhoods were not showing up on those pages. And that's when we realized they had area versus city. So that was a big difference. I had no idea that a city was what brought in all those subdivisions, which is a big deal. So now you know, use city versus area so you can get all of that content. When you come over, okay, so I have never seen a site that doesn't have that. Come over to Web and IDX and to website content. And the default is going to show testimonials, but you have service areas and SEO. And that is where we're adding. If you don't have anything in there, you just start typing in different areas that you serve. Don't do a search because that's where we tend to default as we start trying to, nothing shows up. But we want to add in right here all of the different cities. And then you can come back to search engine and you can see some of this is HTML. Some of this is just, you know, welcome. And I put the video and stuff like that. But you can add in content above for those pages. And those are the pages I use to create custom pages for the featured areas. So I'll show you like a bunch of stuff. Let me see. And I did not have to because the office did. But I could go create a new page. If I want to have those areas showing up in the drop down, I am going to come over to, let's just do Cocoa Beach again. Copy the link from right here. And I'm going to, and this way I know which one not to use. Category. If I know I'm going to be using a lot of categories, I may say featured areas. If I'm using that link, I don't need to paste and put all this content for the page. I can just put in that URL. Teams and brokers. Remove that so it works perfectly and it doesn't take them, all of your agents. It'll be inherited by your agents. And you don't want somebody to click on that link and it to go back to the office site. So I remove the website part of it and this will work on their website. That may be a little whoop, but so there I can put URL. This is also where I would add, Cocoa Beach is not Cocoa. You want to get in trouble. If you're from there, you know what I mean. So I kind of have like a template because we want to add a whole tagline. We want the agent's name, the office name, and here we want all these, you know, different keywords that'll show up to help index through Google and find us on a search. Fun stuff. So I can hit save. Good to go. This, I don't know if you saw that. So instead of putting a URL, you could also put in, like if you have keeping current matters, or even if you don't, you can add in an RSS feed or a property feed to be able to create different things. So definitely play with that. Lots of cool stuff that you can do. So I can just say save. Now I have a page. It's good to go. And that's where I can come back over. I can add in more. And that's when I come back over to my settings, go to that navigation, and now I can add my drop down. So that's where you're going to be able to add more and more stuff. And let me, if you don't want a page or you're not ready for it, let me come back over to Cocoa Beach New. I'm going to unhide that. And I'm going to come over to widgets because, oh, and hers doesn't work. That's right. For some reason, AVG does not like that. So let me, bear with me 1 second. Let me open a new window. Where can I go? Let me see here. If I can. It's not letting me. Let's see here. Not letting me. All right. I'm going to have to log out of hers and see if I can log back into another account, which doesn't really like when I log out of different accounts. But I forgot her account is probably one of the ones I definitely, I don't even know, but I have AVG, I think, and it doesn't like her widget page. It just gives me some weird error. Let's see here. We can log into another account. Usually I go incognito, but it would not even let me. And MAXTECH. Powered by QB Core. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to be able to show you widgets. Let's see. Website settings into widgets. There we go. And I'm going to come up. This one happens to be a team. So let me go over to the team mode. As you can see, that I pulled over. And let me go over to her website since we're using her widgets. Totally forgot that. All right. So widgets. There are a ton of widgets, as you can see, that you can choose from. Play with them. You can't break anything. If you decide you don't like something, you can add it. Go to your website, refresh, and then you can easily, if it's like, oh, well, I don't know what I did. I didn't break anything, because everything that you've added is going to be under your history. So you can see, playing with different ones, we can remove them. But if we decide we did like them, we can go back and add them. It even tells you the dates to make it easy to remember. So this one happens to be a custom one, but this featured area widget by far is my favorite. And you can get creative because you can go through, add counties, add areas, cities, multiple counties, multiple areas. And what I do like is you can have different listing type. You can have the style. So if you want, farms or, townhouses, whatever you want, a lot of options are in here, and you have like options. So probably one of the bigger ones is, horse, golf, waterfront, pool, and you can change these up. So maybe right now is pool, but maybe you want it to be golf later on, or new construction, or just reduced. You can change depending on how the market's going or anything like that. So you can go through, you just upload your images, add the search, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. And I'll just show you the difference between these two sites, just so you can kind of see the difference that this makes and gives your website your own personality. So Chrissy, it's one main county. So north, central, and beaches and south is kind of the local terminology. She didn't want 9 blocks. She just wanted the 6. So we just kind of have those main for the top. And the secondary is going to be golf, waterfront, and pool homes. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can add there. Let's see for Charlie. So what we have here, again, adding in like her vibe. So she has 3 main counties. And then you can even combine. You can put multiple areas. You can change the photo. So we're constantly changing out, we're trying fading and, black and white, or we're just trying different things. Really trying to match the vibe, the consistency of what you're putting out there. This is what's really going to allow you to have your own kind of personality onto your website. Something that's going to match what you're putting out on social, your branding, everything to be cohesive. So when someone goes to your website, there's absolutely no mistake, because it's the same kind of look and feel and vibe that you have already going out to all of your social. So again, all of this. This one I use is just for your market report. For me, I use featured areas, market report, and then this is the Homeworth Modern, which gives me those 2 blocks for buyer and seller. And then you can have the contact. So depending on what you want to use, you can, really change the look and feel. For me, these 4 blocks give me market report, lead, buyer, lead, seller, lead, contact me, lead. So it's every single way that somebody can kind of generate a lead right here on my homepage. So we want to do that. This is just a widget for a mortgage calculator. And then this bringing is where your reviews are going. And then, of course, the carousels. So definitely the widgets are going to be the main focus for completely changing the look and feel of your website by the photos you use and the content that's put out there. You can add custom widgets, which when you add that, it's like, what? Because you'll see I have to know HTML. I don't know how to write code, but I bet you know how to copy and paste. So I just come over to the blog or to a content page. I can add in, let's see if that was over on this one here, because we have some, might be on content, because these are all there. Custom pages. Let's see, is there one? Oh, yep. So here, it's not a public page. I just went create a page. And of course, nothing's going to show up there. I have to refresh that. Sometimes that happens. Never know what's going to happen with live. So let me come back, do that again. Let's connect. So what I did is I grab her logo. I just create something inside of Canva, throw it in there. I center it with HTML. I know how to do brackets and center before and after the photo. Then I add in social links. I add the links to where they go. And I may not know how to write code, but I know that I can click on these little brackets and I know how to copy and paste. So you copy, you can come over, X out of all this stuff. We don't need it. I'm going to come back over to my widgets and you'll see it makes me name it. And all I did was paste it. I didn't publish the page. I just built the content that I want inside of a page so that I could grab the script that this wants. So it's pretty cool. Yes, add widgets, because that's totally going to change the look and feel of your complete website. Then you can even add custom stuff. And I will tell you, just like I showed you how to do your own custom, when you come over here into like Cocoa Beach, you see how this has the text. I do the same thing. I go build a page that I don't publish. I put in everything that I want, add the video, and then I copy that HTML and I add it over into my service areas right here. So still have to do that on here. It was on her other site, but that's where I can paste that HTML. So if otherwise it's just plain text. Or you can completely change the look and feel, add photos, all of that stuff by just going to your custom pages or blog and creating it, copy that HTML and pasting it wherever somebody wants HTML. So that is my hack of the day. And that is basically a full hour of your website. But any other, I think I was answering as I went. I don't think I missed anything I'm going to go through. So type in your questions if you have anything. Hopefully you'll be able to watch the replay. And hopefully I didn't go too fast, but we went over a lot today. So I can't wait to see what you guys do. Get creative, think outside the box, and make sure once you're done, post it in the Tech and Tools group. Tag me. I want to see what you guys do. And one last thing before I go, I think I post like my articles, Social Marketing Nut. If you go to MAXTECH KV Core and you click on training resources, it'll go all the way down. And I have tons of blogs, videos. These are all the past recordings, the links, or you can do the live MAXTECH training, Remax University, all of my videos. You can see I have tons and tons and tons of blogs. You can watch my video tutorials. I have a ton of just little, try to do 10 minutes and under on very specific. It's where this replay will go. But just I get a lot of the same questions. I see a lot of the same questions. So I try to just record me doing it, create a blog about it, put it over here on videos. So hopefully they're short, but a lot more advanced website and CRM and all of that kind of stuff. I have a ton of videos. So feel free, check them out. I've got a lot of great stuff. And of course, never hesitate. If you have any questions on your website or anything KV Core related, feel free, definitely post it in the Remax Tech and Tools. If I see it, I'll answer it. If somebody else knows the answer, they'll answer. We want to be here to be able to help you guys in any way that we can now that almost everyone is onboarded. And I can't wait in 2 weeks, August 3rd. Hopefully I'll keep my power. This storm is getting crazy. We have really cool, fun stuff because under marketing, Design Center, Core Social, new listing machine. I have access. I've been playing. I cannot wait to dive in and show you guys. That is actually, and that's September next month. Oh, my favorite. August is text codes, squeeze pages, landing pages, all of those fun stuff that I actually showed you. How to be able to build relocation guides, buyer guide, seller guide, text codes to generate leads with actual cell phone numbers, how to use that smart number and squeeze pages to build your pipeline and have everybody organized. So that is August 3rd. And then we'll get into playing with all the other fun stuff. Super excited about it. So I hope to see you guys there. Glad everything worked, and we will chat soon. Bye all.